Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor.
Law firms will take this as a retainer.
What? It must be a law firm where they hungry as hell. Now you gonna help me with this parole I'm dealing with?
Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all-natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Guys, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I probably gotta bring my mic up a little bit. Testing. Can you guys hear me? Hi everybody out on X, everybody here on YouTube. Hi guys. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sam, Joy, TJ, Maya, Deborah, and Lamont. Thank you, guys. Okay, you can hear me loud and clear. Welcome. Of course, this is Man Up Thursday. Main topic tonight is the YSL trial. It has been trending this week. This trial has been going on now for 3 months, 91 days to be exact. When is it going to end? When is this going to why is this RICO YSL trial taking so long? It's RICO. It's usually a slam dunk. I think it's going to end up being a mistrial, and I think it should be a mistrial. Judge should be coming on. I sent him a link. I don't have time today. I really don't. I'll appreciate when people come on time, but we all know. Let's say it together in unison. He has the Pony Express Wi-Fi. We all know that. And added on that Big Brother is listening, and added on that his phone is cloned, it takes him a minute. It takes him a while. But before we get into the YSL trial topic, we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. I'll listen to, if the judge is removed, I'll listen to him someplace else. Like where? Which judge? Judge on this trial, or you talking about Judge Joe Brown, Nancy? Nancy, don't be coming up in here starting no mess. So we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about, honey. We got to talk about Biden at the G7 summit wandering off. Like, what is going on? What is going on, honey? And what else? Geez, we got to talk about Juneteenth celebration at the White House. So we're not going to get so much into what is Juneteenth, the history. I'll say that for Monday's show. And we all should know what Juneteenth is. But I want to talk about the White House celebration. They had it earlier this week. And, okay, Judge Joe Brown. Oh, well, he's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere else. He's not. Like we do. This is our show on Mondays and Thursdays. So you won't be able to listen to him nowhere else. Now he does guest appearances on other people's platforms, but he doesn't go nowhere. And he does have his own show every Friday. You go catch it on Spotify and Apple, But other than that, honey, this is it. Thank you, Sue. I went and got it done yesterday. And I kind of had an attitude. I have been what did he just I have been getting responses that serve and not respond. Try. Oh my God. See, I told y'all it's either his Pony Express Wi-Fi or Big Brother. He just texted me. He said, I have been getting responses that serve and not responding. Let me send him the link again. You never know. Oh, honey, the interference is real. First of all, I don't know what y'all so scared of. This man is retired. You know, I don't know if it's Fanny's people, the Biden administration, but what y'all scared of? He always have technical. Well, he has slow Wi-Fi. Oh, there he go. Child's about to get into the story of the hair. I had got an attitude with my hairstylist because my appointment. I'm at 9:30 in the morning. I'll probably get there sometimes at 9:40 or 9:35, honey. Sometimes I gotta wait for him to walk in, which is fine. I'm only getting a wash, blow dry, and press. But you blow dry my hair. You tell me to sit to the side so you could put some finger waves and sit somebody under the dryer. That's fine. But then, honey, you going to tighten up a weave and then flat iron curl her damn weave. So I had to sit to the side for a good 40 minutes. And that pissed me off because that's kind of like the second time that happened. Now, a good hairstylist is hard to find. And I'm ready to move on. I'm about to get braids though. But see, I be pissed and be ready to find someone else. And then I have to go through the journey of finding someone else. And then I'll just end up just keeping him, going back to him. But I don't like that. So I am going to have that conversation. Like, don't do that. And I do not like the smell of when they put the flat iron on a weave. It smells funny. Yeah. But anyway, that's my little story. Hi.
Are you guys sure you want to run governments and administer things when you have such vital considerations to occupy your attention?
Well, if I'm in the White House, honey, I have my own salon in the White House. The hairdresser, I have my own hairdresser coming to me. So
oh boy,
that's not the issue.
Oh boy. So I suppose the women are supposed to devolve into Beetlejuice, Lori Lightfoot types and Letitia James types, and we're supposed to forget that, and everybody is, I mean, well, anyway, we won't go there. Go ahead.
No, but
you have these vital issues. Go ahead.
So this comment right here, yes, exactly. Don't waste customer service as a former stylist. Never make your client wait. Respect their time. Exactly. Especially when you are consistent. I come every week. Don't make me wait so you could tighten up a weave. And she came in after me. Anyway.
Such vital issues.
Okay, let's start the show. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Garland held in contempt. Merrick Garland held in contempt by U.S. Congress. Republican-controlled chamber passed its resolutions by a 216 to 207 vote, with only one Republican siding with United Democrat opposition. Mr. Garland refused to turn over interview tapes from a Justice Department probe of President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. Reacting to the contempt vote, he said House Republicans had turned a serious congressional authority into a partisan weapon.
What the hell do they think they've been doing? You set the precedent and get away with it. You don't expect anybody else to do it. That's what I say all the time. Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it.
Right.
And besides, that's not unknown anyway. They got Ollie North when they scapegoated him and they hauled him in front of a congressional committee, but it was his salvation. Instead of going to prison, the appellate court ruled that the process of them doing what they did caused him to violate his Fifth Amendment rights against, those Miranda rights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It says today's vote disregards the constitutional separation of powers, the Justice Department's need to protect its investigations, and the substantial amount of information we have provided to the committees, he wrote. America's top law enforcement officer now becomes the only third attorney general in U.S. history and fourth sitting cabinet member overall to be held in contempt of Congress. But what does that mean, to be held in contempt of Congress?
In other words, you can get fined, you can get locked up until you comply. They have the power of the purse and to legislate, so you can't thwart that. And this is number 3. 1, 2, 3. He's not the first. And the other 2 go back quite a way. So it's a long-standing precedent.
What says here, Attorney General William Barr and Eric Holder, who respectively served presiding Republican and Democratic administrations, also were held in contempt of Congress, but neither one of them faced criminal charges.
No, because they complied. But anyway, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. So we'll see where that shakes out. And this is the administration that spawned the term lawfare, using law to wage warfare on political opponents, which is, by the way, precisely the reason we have the Bill of Rights. See, our ignorance is so abysmal these days. They don't teach crap to the kids in school. The public's not interested. It's this little book right here, a little thin thing that goes into the preamble, the Declaration of Independence, the amendments, the discussion on the intent and so forth. And it takes somebody reasonably adept at reading maybe an hour to get through this, and the Constitution part takes about 15 minutes. So it's astonishing that nobody does this. This thing is about 1/8 the thickness of your typical rules of the road manual that you have to absorb if you want to get your driver's license. So I just don't get it. You can get your driver's license to operate on the roadways and highways, but you can't read the road map or the driving instructions of life in the United States because you're too damn lazy and uninterested in it. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Tell you the rules of basketball back and forth and argue and discuss at great length and in great detail, but can't talk about what it takes to operate with assurance in your world. And then somebody's going to say, they got somebody's picture on there, he's a racist, and this is white supremacy. All to hell, go move someplace, you live here. So
it says House Speaker Mike Johnson described the vote as a significant step in maintaining the integrity of our oversight process and responsibilities.
Yeah, that's about right. You can't let these clowns get away with what they're doing. Somebody's got to hold them to account.
Right.
They're violating the Constitution. That's what they keep talking about. Trump this, Trump that. He's evil. No, he's not the Baba Yaga boogeyman or a demon. We're talking about people beginning to perceive and believe that the methods of fascism are appropriate. 1984, that Orwell wrote about 80 years ago, is coming to fruition. Animal Farm, he wrote about 70 some years ago, is coming to fruition. And it's not pretty. We've got to stop this before it gets to be too much of a habit. You can't, like on this venue we're on right now, we can't even say certain things that have nothing to do with sexuality, excrement, or any sort of prurient interest in a matter that might be deemed obscene. We can't discuss ideas that are alluded to on the front page of newspapers because some punk's feelings might be hurt. And you see, that's not what it's about living in this country. Your feelings, nobody gives a goddamn about your feelings. It's about the free expression of ideas. And even if you find some of the ideas offensive, that's too bad. Grow stronger.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the G summit, right?
Oh yeah.
So should I play the Biden video or just get into the Saudi Arabia talk first?
The Biden video is entertaining.
So should we?
Yeah, you can play him, and you can see why we're losing out on this.
Yeah, let's see. So apparently, you know, Biden was caught wandering off in the middle of the G summit. It says President Biden appears to start wandering off at the G7 summit and has to be handled back in. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was seen grabbing Biden to bring him back to the group. This wasn't the only awkward between the two. Let's
watch.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Jeez, why do I always do this? Oh, it's no sense.
What's he looking at?
I thought it was a sound. Yeah, so that's the Italian Prime Minister. Where was he walking to?
He doesn't know. He's just drifting.
They're saying
that's the decrepit and senile person that is the chief diplomat of the United States. And his second, Kamala Imhoff, Mrs. Imhoff, is a grinning hyena that seems to think everything from somebody farting on the set to somebody getting shot up is funny and merits a hyena grin, and has no grasp of the issues and can't discuss them or lay them out. So we're in some pretty pathetic hands, and it's no wonder that the rest of the world says, hey, these people have drifted so far. They used to be, for whatever their flaws, they were in charge. Look at this clown wandering off. He doesn't even know what the hell he's doing.
Was he talking to the soldiers? That I don't know.
No, he's not. He does it all the time. And he pooped his pants on D-Day. Pooped his Pampers.
So this is like 9 seconds. Let me see something.
It includes.
This is 9 seconds of his speech at the G summit.
It includes major commitments from Ukraine to impact and to implement democratic, economic, and security reforms. It includes.
So yeah, something is.
He's got a teleprompter. He can't read that. They put an IFB, a miniaturized one, in his ear, which is like a miniature hearing aid. He can't listen to that. He even has in his pocket, which you can see because he doesn't know how to conceal it, he's got the scrambler and transmitter so they can send him stuff scrambled and de-scramble it and tell him what to say. He can't even do that. And let alone Hyena Harris, she can't either. So where are we? We're talking BRICS here: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and they're going to another economic structure, getting away from the dollar and the control that the United States is trying to exert over the economics of the planet. And it's just not working. And they're looking at what we're doing and they're saying, hey, you know, these guys have somebody, Trump, who knows how to deal with this, and they don't want him in because they want this bozo, and they've got this thing that we hate that we are not going to let in our countries, that they're making a condition of further advantageous economic investment, and that is we got to let this rainbow cult garbage in. So they can go out and have these freaks in drag trying to seduce children and running around naked with their stuff hanging out so the kids can go play with it on a float. We can't have that. That's an anathema to everybody's sense of decency on the planet but ours, and we seem to have been captured by this new religion. I mean, it's like, what did they used to have back anciently, where they'd have the priestesses, they'd get out and perform sex as a sacrificial ritual to all of the acolytes, and anybody that wanted could come in and, you know, contribute a shekel or something and get a piece. And this was supposed to be a sexual adjunct to the religion. What is this? And see, people don't want that, and they get this kind of discordance and decrepitness, and it's, you know, like, hey, we got to do something else. You know, times are getting too tight, you know, global warming and stress levels and droughts and insects eating up crops and, you know, water shortages, and we've got this kind of bozo act. Well, it's obvious something's wrong here. And see, if you vote for Biden, I don't think he's going to remain breathing long, because he's obviously sick and he's going downhill fast. And what that means is if you vote for him, he'll get in long enough to get sworn in and all of that. And then within the year, probably, you're going to wind up having him resign, and hyena Harris is going to replace the baboon.
We can't have her for 4 years. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's going to replace baboon Biden, or buzzard Biden. And between the buzzard, the hyena, and the vultures that are in the Democratic Party, they're circling around the carcass of the whole country, waiting for its soul to die so they can feed on it.
So going back to this G Summit, right? Because you posted, I got this from you, reposted this on X. U.S. Saudi Arabia petrodollar pact ends. Biden's failures are bringing an end to global dollar dominance, right?
They're saying, screw you. You guys can't handle it. You got a chief executive and your backup who's likely to be the chief executive soon. They don't know what to do with it. So we're bailing before we get stuck in the same rabbit hole you're sliding down.
In March of 2023, South Africa's foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, announced that Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Algeria, Argentina, Mexico, Nigeria. Oh, Algeria. I'm sorry. Algeria, Argentina, Mexico, and Nigeria, and other nations wanted to join BRICS alliance. That was a direct threat to the West and U.S. dollar dominance. We got a problem.
Yeah, we do. And we've had general incompetence, starting with Obama, who I think actually was not so much an exhibitor of incompetence as deliberate scheming to bring this about, because his money is centered in Indonesia, which is not in the United States, and to leave his legacy of wealth. It's best for him if BRICS succeeds. He makes more money. So I think he was trying to tear it down. You've got the Bush family that he is allied to by blood kinship, and they make money in energy exploitation. And this is an opportunity to insinuate themselves into that. And Biden, with his son, Hunter, has been making great profit for a civil service person, way beyond what his nominal income would indicate he had the ability to invest and profit from. And we're getting sold. And now the fool is senile and decrepit and not likely to live very much longer. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right.
And one other thing, he's never been a businessman or been involved in the day-to-day business of law as it applies to the management of ordinary people's affairs and what happens in the real world. He's been a civil servant his entire adult life.
Mm-hmm.
He has never been in the real world.
Yeah, and this is actually your repost here. Baboon Biden and Hyena Harris fell again. U.S. Saudi Arabian petrodollar pact ends. Because remember when Trump was president, he actually went to Saudi Arabia. That was like a big trip, and all the news outlets were there and stuff like that reporting on it. So he was actually building better relations with Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries, right?
He was doing that, yes.
And this administration is just like
tearing everything down.
Yeah, I don't
losing out.
Yeah, they don't want to deal. I don't think they want to deal with the Biden administration. So
who does? All the Biden administration has done is push this rainbow cult on the country and everywhere else in the world as some kind of new religion, a new crusade that is manifesting, much to the disgust of the rest of the world. And that's about all they've done. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything is slipped in this country. It's disgustingly so because there was an upward trend that could have been maintained, but they just don't know what they're doing. They're basically incompetent. And the American public, to an unfortunate extent, is too ignorant to understand what they're looking at because they aren't interested anymore.
Right. I wanted to share this. I want to move on to the next topic.
The judge. Is that the picture we're looking at?
Yeah, but we're not. We're going to get into that later. So it says breaking: the Oklahoma Supreme Court has dismissed the Tulsa Race Massacre case in an 8-1 decision. It was in what was likely the final opportunity for survivors to receive justice. The survivors are 110, 109, 102 died recently. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
I'm not surprised. Statute of limitations, sovereign immunity, and the demise and disappearance of anyone who would have been an active defendant in this case pretty much doomed this. What somebody might do on the federal level, and I talked about it, is the feds could do what the Democratic Party did to bastardize the rules on statutes of limitations for the benefit of alleged sexual misconduct victims. And they could do that for people who have been done wrong this way. But it's interesting. I don't think the Democratic Party would do it at all. They won't touch it. But the Republican Party might jump on it because it does two things. One, it would allow, if you change the statute of limitations around and open it up, it would allow lawsuits against offending entities. And essentially, there's only one continuous entity that was involved in that, and they engineered slavery, well, kept it going. They fought a civil war to maintain it. They fought massively outside of the battlefield to maintain the elements thereof, Jim Crow, segregation, and everything else. And that entity is the incorporated chartered body known as the Democratic Party. See, if you sued the Democratic Party, you wouldn't have to worry about tax dollars being spent and people hollering about these folk that want this money. Their parents weren't even alive when this happened. So how can they make a claim? And this is all private liability, perhaps, if somebody could prove the case. And
let me read this, because after I read this about the Oklahoma, I want to pull up that post of yours when you gave a suggestion, and I think you added Donald Trump in that. But let me just focus
not as a liability or somebody likely, but somebody who would engineer the process.
Right. But let's table that for 1 second. I want to go back to this Oklahoma. It says that the 8-1 ruling, the state Supreme Court affirmed a lower court decision that the plaintiff's public nuisance claim, though legitimate, does not fall under the scope of Oklahoma's public nuances. Did I say all right? Nuances statute. The allegations also don't significantly support a claim for unjust enrichment or the unauthorized use of name and likeness, the court ruled.
They were making a stretch trying to reach, because right now about the only way any kind of reparations will be granted is through a legislative enablement and appropriations act. See, sovereigns are immune unless they allow themselves to be sued. You can't sue a municipality, a county, or a state, or let alone the federal government unless they allow it.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps the government from being frivolously shut down, and it's an ancient situation. You couldn't sue the king. The king had to grant you what you were entering a prayer for. So that's the way it is. Now, that said, what we're going to run into is all of the resistance that'll come from a lot of factors saying, hey, we weren't here. I didn't participate in this. Why should my tax dollars be used for satisfying somebody who was not even alive, didn't even have a parent alive? So why should we pay for them? The rest of us have suffered through hardship and we made it. Why can't these guys? And that's kind of what you get is the kickback. And we get some black folk get irate, very angry because nobody can understand their position. And then they get to talking about the ancillary stuff, like only black folks should be able to criticize black folk, and we have a right to be, you know, all this, that, and the other. And the other point that we always miss is, so what if you don't get it? What are you going to do?
Well, it says here an update with this ruling. It says Viola Fletcher and Leslie Benningfield Randall will file a petition for rehearing with the Oklahoma Supreme Court. Their legal team said in a statement. They also called for the Justice Department to open an investigation into the Tulsa Race Massacre under the Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crime Act of 2007.
It'll get nowhere.
No, don't do that.
I mean, it will get nowhere.
No. I'm talking about what you were touching on camera. Don't show that on camera.
What? Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay. Sorry. I was cleaning in the process, trying to use the time. Now, okay, now, it's not likely that that'll get anywhere at all, because it's a wish list that's got a lot of opposition. How do you open up an investigation when there are no witnesses? And who do you sue, and who do you pursue under any act? Who's the perpetrator?
Well,
find me a live perpetrator. No, but find me a live perpetrator. Who are you suing?
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, that's the point.
The state and the federal.
Yeah, well, you can't sue the United States government because it isn't going to allow it. So who are you going to sue? The state of Oklahoma? They just disallowed it. They didn't grant sovereign immunity. So who are the defendants you're going to name? Dig one up?
I don't know.
That's the problem. See?
No, well, we haven't read I don't have the case file in front of me.
Well, you don't have to. But the point is, who do you sue?
Well, you probably could sue let's just say if it was like the mobs that were doing the harm, their
Well, find me
families.
a mob member. You can't, no, American law, English law, 2,000 years of precedent won't allow that. Personal injury is personal to the person injured and to the person who perpetrated the injury. It doesn't pass on to other people. You can't do that. Just like if your grandfather busted somebody upside his head in 1952, nobody can come after you and sue you for what your granddaddy did.
Well, it says Hughes, Van Hellis, and Viola Fletcher and Leslie Benningfield Randall filed a lawsuit in 2020 under the state's public nuisance
Who
law
did they sue?
over the destruction of the wealthy black neighborhood in Greenwood and killing of approximately 300 people by a white mob in 1921.
Who did they sue?
They said that it was under the state's public nuisance.
I know that's what they proceeded against, but who was the defendant?
I don't know.
In other words, they're public nuisance laws, but I sue gas station XYZ because they allegedly are violating it. Who's the gas station? Who's the defendant, in other words?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It must be the state.
Well, the problem is the state hasn't said we accept them, liability potentially. We are not accepting your lawsuit. That's why I keep saying to people, if you're going to proceed, you have to get a legislative act of Congress, if you want to go against the U.S. government, permitting it and setting aside funds to pay it if it's successful.
So you think, so you feel it, so now that they're trying to get the Justice Department to open up an investigation, why didn't they do this in the first place? Under the Emmett Till.
It's right now. See, one of the problems with this whole thing.
Or maybe you have to deal with the state first before you could take it to the Justice Department.
Yeah, maybe. But the problem is there's no precedent in the country's history for this. I know they have granted so-called reparations to gays for insurance benefits denials. They've granted so-called reparations, which are basically individual compensation to Japanese after World War II and such like, and to Jews for the Holocaust. But you can look at that kind of thing as maybe a diplomatic matter dealing with the relationship the United States has with the state of Israel. Mm-hmm. And state means nation. And by the way, one of the things people don't get is this is not one homogeneous country. This is one country composed of effectively irrevocable alliances between various nations. See, the state of Tennessee, the state of New York, the state of New Jersey were once sovereign nations that decided that they would join in a union, like the Euro Union. You had several thousands of years of war between France, Germany, Italy, or Rome when it was what it was, and Switzerland. You had all of this, the Netherlands and England, and you had Prussia, which was separate from Germany because Germany wasn't created until the late 1870s. So you have all of this history of warfare between these various and sundry nations that are now part of the Euro Union. Just we have the Union of Europe. We've got the Union of North America, known as the United States of America. Now we have the United States of Europe, the Euro Union, with a common euro dollar, a common passport system, open borders to each other. It's the same thing we did. They modeled that on us. So just like you don't expect Germany to allow itself to be dictated to by Paris or France to be dictated to by Berlin, you can't expect the United States, the United Nations of North America, who are united under a constitution, to allow Los Angeles, California, New York City, and Chicago to dictate to Tuskegee, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia, and Memphis, Tennessee, and Miami, Florida. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. We had a civil war behind that. And so far, that Civil War has a death toll higher than all of the other wars the U.S. has been in combined. So we're not going to have that kind of thing. And people just don't do this because they want it. And the other point is we have absolutely no congressional backup because, as you're saying, the Black Caucus is essentially useless. They've had decades to introduce all sorts of legislation, at least in an attempt to get it legislated upon or considered, and they haven't. But since all but 5 or 6 of the, maybe 4 of the Black Caucus are also members of the Freedom Caucus, meaning LGBTQIA caucus, they seem more intent on advancing the rainbow cult interest than they are with the black folk interest. As a matter of fact, they only seem interested in black folk in terms of getting elected, dispensing fried chicken and dancing like fools and buck dancing around and giggling and song and dance at any breakout moment. So
yeah,
what do we expect? We don't get anything for our return.
All right. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
And it's a nice try. It's an experiment.
Let me throw this in there because I do know within the last few years, in recent years, the state of Oklahoma gave that land, which is around the Greenwood area, part of the Greenwood area, back. Well, added more land back to the natives to govern.
Yeah, it always was.
So so Tulsa, where the massacre took place, is actually sovereign land. It's not even part of the Oklahoma state. You get what I'm saying?
It's not part of Oklahoma. It's part of Indian territory. And by the way, not a single black person owned any property rights. They were tenants. They were renting all of the property, all of the lands, everything in there from the Native Americans. And see, the other thing is there were 122 other places that had problems in that 3-4 year period right up in there, and everybody forgets about them for the most part. But the interesting thing is the big one, and it applies to what happened January 6, 2021, was what happened in 1919 in Washington, D.C., where quite a few hundred people were killed. But in this case, more white people got killed than black folk got killed because you had some veterans who armed themselves. They were there for a conference, and they got on the roofs of these tenements that certain people were trying to burn down, and they started sniping them, and they had just gotten back from the trenches in France. So they killed a lot of white people, and Woodrow Wilson's administration sent the U.S. cavalry in after 5 days to restore order. So you want to talk about an uprising? Let's talk about that. And by the way, not one single Democrat was prosecuted for that. And that essentially was a Democratic riot that started up in Washington, D.C. with the Klan, White Citizens Council, and a number of other things, and a lot of Democratic politicians urging the riot on. So I look at this crap where they say 180 people were trying to involve themselves in an insurrection against the country is absolutely ridiculous hyperbole. It's a great exaggeration. And the reason they keep using that term insurrection is there are 2 exceptions in the Constitution to the application of the Constitution and the constitutional rights to the citizens, and that's 1 is invasion, which certainly that was not, and number 2 is insurrection. So these clowns are trying to get
why they keep throwing balloons on your end?
I know, I don't know. And this is these fascist clowns trying to get the public used to the idea of insurrection. So when they put it with, we're going to deprive rights when this kind of thing happens again, which is a demonstration, not an insurrection, we can swoop in and start depriving people of their constitutional rights, starting with the writ of habeas corpus, which is the most important right in the Constitution. And most people don't know what the hell it is. What it means is, if they lock you up you have a right to apply for a petition for a writ of habeas corpus. What does that mean? Any judge, you pick the judge. A friend can pick the judge. Doesn't even have to be a lawyer. Can say, show me cause why this person is in jail. If it is not a constitutional basis for this person being in jail, he's out of there. That protects you so you can't get locked up by a hack. And see, that's one of the things that, depending upon what happens with sentencing, say Alito or Clarence Thomas or Robertson or Gorsuch or any one of the Supreme Court justices could be approached for the grant of a stay, which is in their authority to deal with writs of habeas corpus, or find any federal judge or any friendly state judge in New York and say, hey, stop this. And they can't show cause. And the problem they're going to have is they did not deal with due process in this conviction. They, under New York.
You're going somewhere else.
No, I mean, I'm not going any further. Just listen real quick. Under New York law, and I'm repeating this truth because too many lies about it have been repeated over and over again. Trump got convicted essentially of paying hush money. Hush money payment is not a crime unless it's for purposes of concealing or hushing an underlying crime. In spite of repeated demands by the defense, the state was not required to specify any underlying criminal offense that was being hushed. And instead of charging that very necessary thing to the jury, which is absolute and mandatory, the judge refused to charge the law in New York to the jury. And what he wanted was a conviction, even if it got overturned on appeal, which it would, but that would take time, so he could interfere with Donald Trump's presidency, because Donald Trump stands in the way of them trying to play fascist.
Now, I need for you to right now, because you just sped off into three different things.
Well, it's all tied in. There's nothing separate in
what?
it.
Now tie it all in. Tie it into what?
Okay, it's tied into reparations.
Original.
It's tied into reparations because we were talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm saying it's a travesty because why are we focused on Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we didn't even own any property, and it certainly wasn't the biggest death toll when we have 122 other places that dealt with worse or the same kind of thing at that time.
Let me ask you this, because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Just quickly answer it though. Maybe they wanted this victory, which would have set off for other cases, the other hundreds of cases that you just alluded to. However, maybe because Tulsa was like, it's more popularized in pop culture, but maybe they should have dealt with other cases in other states that's probably more liable to win than Tulsa. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes
the problem,
I think this is what I'm saying. If you're serious about any type of reparations or restitution or compensations for due harm to you or a group of people, then stop trying to grab what's popular and grab what is realistically able to win a case. You get what I'm saying?
See, in other words, one of the problems with the whole professional law is too many of the lawyers are not as expert as the public expects them to be because they have lacked the experience, the acumen, and the academic concerns that would be necessary. Mm-hmm. They are fumbling and they're trying to come up with something because it's a pop thing. And they want to do something right now. Now, the problem with the plaintiffs in this is I think the plaintiffs range from infants to toddlers. So
when it happened,
when it happened, it just illustrates the point that when the main problem, which was not in 1922, it was 50, 60 years before when there was slavery. Now, my grandfather on one side was born 11 years before the Civil War started. But the point of the exercise, he's been dead for damn near 70 years. So who in the hell is going to sue for the main thing? Who are the plaintiffs? So one of the problems with reparations is extrapolating standing to sue. And then see, I listen to people and I say, can you prove what your family suffered? See, you can make all kinds of claims, but if you want a lawsuit, you have to show damages. Prove what you suffered. Prove it, not what you heard, and not your woofing because you think you're entitled to it. Prove it. Now, there might be ways of doing it.
I want to say one more thing. I got your text, LA Pink. Just give me a minute. I want to say one more thing, and then I need to move on to the Juneteenth celebration to the White House. And that's just a quick conversation because Monday, we're going to elaborate in more details on Juneteenth, the significance, the history behind it. That's Monday. I just want today to talk about the Juneteenth White House celebrations. But real quick, I'm going to be a little messy because I agree with you when it comes to reparations. And we could go into that on Monday. But it's let me ask the people in the chat. I'm gonna put a poll. How many of y'all going to the reparations rally this Saturday that Tariq Nasheed put together? Because I get what he's trying to do is put a spotlight on it, and he's only one person. The problem is, going back to what you said, Judge, it's going to take congressional legislation, not rallies. You have all the rallies in the world, and you're never going to receive reparations.
A rally is like a rock concert. It doesn't have a damn thing to do with legislation that impacts your day-to-day existence. So get over it. That's just expressing your opinion. And if your representatives that you voted for that are now reposed in the Black Caucus don't know what their constituents are talking about, then it's hopeless and it won't happen. So it is what it is. And by the way, I resent Juneteenth as a holiday. And if I can, I want to just say why. Back in 1972, I spent several weeks in the Congressional Library of Congress. And I had to look at this stuff on the microfilm, and I frankly got curious about Juneteenth. It developed that on June 18th, a U.S. Navy warship docked in Galveston Harbor. The captain, who was a lieutenant commander in actual rank, noted that black stevedores and dock workers were getting lashed and beaten, and he wanted to know what was going on, so he sent his first lieutenant down there, who came back and said, Captain, these people, these Negroes, think they're still slaves. So he had his secretary draft up.
I kind of wanted to have that conversation on Monday, not today.
No, well, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm just telling you how it happened.
I know, no.
Weird. I mean it's important for what our discussion is today.
Well, our discussion is.
Give me 20 seconds.
20 seconds. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what happened is he had 23 letters written. 21 of them had the date June 19, 1866. 2 of them had June 19, 1865, which was clearly a typo. Some of them got taken to printing press operations and printed up, but the main one showed that the date was 1866. So my problem is, why are we celebrating something where the former slaves stayed in a condition of slavery a year and a half or almost 4 years after they nominally had been freed? And I find that horrible. But the White House is going to celebrate
want to say the same thing on Monday.
I know, but I want to repeat it. They tell a lie long enough and loud enough, they get anybody, including the liar, to believe it. I want them to hear the truth. And I intend to say it over and over again. Well, so yeah, White House is going to have a good time with buck dancing, half dead, decrepit Biden, who's going downhill rapidly and drifting. He's going to get out there, and he knows his Negroes, and he will declare that the people that celebrate Juneteenth with him are truly black, because he, massa, declared that they were.
Well,
and fake Negro Hyena Harris Imhoff is going to get out there and put on some kind of stylish shoes and claim she smoked dope while she was listening to Tupac when he was 8 years old.
Let me say this. So the survey that I put up is Biden brain broken. 86% said yes, 13 said no, 592 voted. I just hit somebody in my chat, and let me just do a little public service announcement. I do let people say what you want to say, even if you criticize me or the judge or whatever. But when you cross the line to saying something derogatory, don't ever try to sit up here and first of all, you're trying to tell me what to do to run my show. You cannot, because you don't know how to do this. But if one person I just hid from the channel, like, don't play with me. I said this before, that my listeners is of a certain age, and my listeners are the intellects, are the people who want real news, real discussions. Stop acting like a kid and act your age, because majority, 70% of the listeners are over 40. So grow up.
Act your age, not your shoe size.
That is so old, but true.
Yeah.
All right. So get into the White House celebration, right? The White House Juneteenth celebration. Of course, it has to be a concert. It took place on June the 10th of this week, but Juneteenth is on the 19th of June. But anyway, they had Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight,
Negroes gotta sing and dance.
Kurt Franklin. But once again, the spotlight is on Biden because he just looked frozen and stiff.
Yeah. And this is when right before Billy Porter kisses his hand like the sissy that he is. Look at him. Look like he jumped out of somebody's time machine from before the Civil War. Watch this Negro come over here in the weird dress. Gonna kiss his hand.
I think it's in this clip. If not, I gotta probably pull another clip.
There he is over there with his strange self. Look at him bouncing around. He's happy.
He's pumping. Yeah, I don't know what he got on.
He happy. Got on some freak outfit. Where is his husband? Need to keep him under control.
He got divorced.
Oh, they did? White guy left him.
Yeah. After all those years.
Welcome back. In about 90 minutes.
No. After all those years, he got left. I think it was another.
All right. Shit happens in a relationship. They break up, but freak of the week, I guess. He came all the way out and went tranny on everybody. Wearing dresses wasn't enough. He had to go the whole 9 yards. And he's got those braids in his head, and I bet they stank when they put the hot iron on them, didn't they?
Here. This is a couple more angles, some more videos of the celebration. Like I said, when we do the show Monday, we're gonna go into more detail of Juneteenth, but again, I don't understand. It's always a concert, and I have a feeling that because they did it on June 10th, that's because they have something planned either this weekend or maybe next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, that's going to be a celebration for Pride Month.
Well, do you get the connection? Pride Boy, in his dress, gone all the way live tranny now, comes up and is permitted to kiss the president's hand. And that's just a subsummation of the whole thing, which the sign is not the red, white, and blue emblem they had. It's a rainbow power fish now for Juneteenth, and they are pushing it because it allows the Gay Pride Month of June to subsume something closely associated with Black folks. So they have Black folks celebrating this supposed farce that's not supposed to be a farce. if you are ignorant of your history. And what goes on is they start associating, celebrating something black with something rainbow with the cult, and then the cult subsumes the black thing even more. So they also put Gay Pride Month in the same month. They have what? Father's Day, and I'm grossly insulted to be celebrated in the same month they have that. Particularly since it's not even gay anymore. It's LGB. Now they got T. Now they have I, intersectionality. They've got Q in there for queer and questioning. And then they've got all points south for everything in there. And it's gotten a little bit weird. So they're trying to make a cult out of it, and they're trying to absorb the black cause. See, what this clown's doing, since he knows his Negroes, is he, I guess he goes along with his advisors who say, boss, the boys and gals like to buck dance and sing and shout, and you give them a little fried chicken barbecue and a hunk of watermelon and maybe a little sneak snort of whiskey, and they'd be happy as they can be, boss. They'd be backing you up, loving you. And I guess he listens to that. He's a piece of urban trailer park trash, and he's doing what he does. So our less capable mentally types, and the Sharptons and the Pillsbury Doughboy, roly-polies and such like that, they just loves them some him, and they want to go emulate, what's his name, Billy Porter or Balletta.
Let me play this clip. Can you hear that?
No.
All right, I'm gonna have to stop and share it again. Give me a second. Can you hear that?
I heard something going on. Looked like Billy Porter was getting excited or something.
You grads in here, we got some HBCU grads.
Who was that? He needs to get some bass in his voice.
She knows so long as it is denied, our freedom can never be secured. Her decades-long march brought her here to the White House when she stood by my side as I signed the Juneteenth federal holiday.
What in the hell was that?
I have no idea. See, that was him talking about the Juneteenth thing. Like, let me replay it. Let's see.
Short a couple credit hours.
She knows so long as it is denied, our freedom can never be secured. Her decades-long march brought her here to the White House when she stood by my side as I signed the Juneteenth federal holiday.
What Negro is he talking about?
He's talking about when he signed the Juneteenth to be a federal holiday, and I guess it commemorated with whatever woman that was
some Negro was there to be by his side. So who is this Negro woman that's supposed to speak for me?
I have no idea.
That speaks for me.
I have no idea. I don't know. One last thing before we get into commercials and go into the YSL trial. Father's Day. I want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Do you have?
I'm insulted. It's in the middle of Gay Pride Month, which, you know, hey, that ain't it. The other thing is, it's right next to Juneteenth, which is doubly insulting. That ain't it either.
You have a problem with Father's Day being in the same month as Juneteenth?
Yeah, I certainly do. It's embarrassing. A father stands up and is willing to die for his family to assure their freedom. And these Negroes stayed enslaved a year and a half after the Civil War was over.
Well, can we just focus on Father's Day?
Well, let's do it, but it's a shadow cast on it.
Yeah, so just for no more than 2 minutes, tell us the importance of Father's Day, because
Well, we used to provide for the family, protect it, kept it together, and ensured that when we died before anybody else in the family, we will have left it something and sent it somewhere on a progressive path into the future. Now, this administration of snakes that's in place, these vultures, hyenas, and these buzzards, they're trying to destroy the traditional nuclear family and wipe out fatherhood and masculinity. So, no, I don't have any respect for them celebrating it. I have zero respect for them putting that horrible holiday, which was an abdication of masculine responsibility, Juneteenth, into the lexicon. They had a lot of other things they could have done, but they did not do. But they chose that one, and they chose this month to put Gay Pride Month in the month with Father's Day. Gay Pride's already celebrated as Gay History Month, the same month that they do Black History. They're trying to subsume everything. And I don't care if you're gay, get your freak on in your bedroom. That's your own damn business. But keep your hands off the kids. Quit trying to groom them and convert them to this new nihilistic religion that talks about failure and self-hate as glorified precepts. Now, I don't like that.
Would you have had a problem if Juneteenth was in the same month as Mother's Day?
I think it still stinks. It's not something to celebrate. It's why up until the last 5 or 10 years ago, throughout all of the 160 years since the Civil War, that nobody Black except the people in Texas celebrated Juneteenth. Black folk didn't because it was an insult.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like you finally graduated from the 6th grade and you're going to junior high school and you're 20 years old. Congratulations.
What are you doing on Father's Day?
I don't know. Hell, nobody celebrates dads anymore.
I wonder why.
Because it's no longer the fad. You have had 50 years worth of trying to denigrate masculinity, to wipe it out, to glorify feminism, and to knock masculinity down from the magnificent thing it is that conquered the whole planet Earth for humanity, and you're trying to turn it into some kind of ancillary thing that you want to, well, not you, but some want to wipe out in favor of artificial insemination and cloning. It's crazy. And then you got some pimp preacher up on the pulpit. He's sitting up there trying to work the females in the congregation to get more money to buy a new car for himself. And you got all the little whatevers jumping around on the floor in front of the pulpit, which is an abomination in terms of the gospels he's supposed to be teaching. So, yeah, really nice. Okay. And who's celebrating Father's Day?
I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to acknowledge all the men. I mean, listen, thank you for
the acknowledgement. We don't need it, but thank you.
And this is why your day is not taken seriously, because y'all say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We don't need it.
Show it, not talk and run off at the mouth. Show it. Everybody's trying to knock black men, white men out of the precept. Mm-hmm. You know, get rid of men and everything will be all right. No, it's not going to be all right, because there's some men left on the planet Earth, and they'll come in and kick all kinds of soft, round ass. And it won't be pretty.
I'm going to kind of piss you off a little bit more. Is it okay if somebody says Happy Father's Day to a single mother or to a transgender man?
What the hell is a transgender man? Is it a male or is it a female?
Is it okay to say Happy Father's Day to a single mother who the child has like no father, so she's
well, I mean, she can be functional. I don't care about little stuff like that. That's inconsequential. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't get worked up about somebody's phraseology on an individual basis. It's when you start trying to make it a policy. And by the way, what do you mean by trans man? Is it a female with a twat, strap on, or are we talking about something that's trying to masquerade as a woman and somebody's confused about the terminology?
I don't know. Actually, happy Father's Day, everybody. Let me just go into commercial before we get into the main event topic right about now.
By the way, manhood is an earned status. It's not something you grow into. You have to earn it. You're a male, but being masculine is behavioral, and being a man is masculine behavior. It is combined with the appropriate things that men do about duty, honor, obligation, etc.
Guys, if you want to ask the judge a question or make a comment or say anything, please send it via super chats, because that way I can easily see it. I'm not going to drop the link tonight. Thank you. Lynn says, Judge, do you think Biden will be the nominee? If not, what is the process of putting someone else in?
Well, they'll have ballots. Sometimes they've had as many as 45, 46, going on 50 ballots before they got a nominee for president in the Democratic Party. But he's assured to be the nominee. They tried to fix it so they can get him in and he can resign after a year if he makes it that far in favor of Cum Queen. Biden, Imhoff, Harris, and you can get the fake Negro in there who's Hindu. Nothing wrong with being Hindu, but I think she lets her own people down by not doing more for them.
All right. Well, I want to ask everyone, please share this stream. Hello to everybody on X. Guys, please hit the like button, and on X, please repost. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And I want to slide this in, go get you the Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce. Can my moderator Southern Belle and Catellia, can y'all put the link to the barbecue sauce in the live chat? And you can also, guys, you can always click on it in the description. So go to Amazon, type in Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce, or you could go to the website, that's jjbbbq.com, and go get you some barbecue sauce. It's delicious. On the website, you get more stuff like the links and stuff like that. But Amazon, you can get this 3-pack on Amazon, or you can get it individually, spicy original, and the seasoning. So yeah, so go get you some barbecue sauce. It's good. It's delicious. Now, I want to get into YSL. I want to play the first 4 minutes of this clip and have you comment. And I guess I maybe play a little bit of the rest. LA Pink, I see you in queue. I will bring you up after this clip. But anyway, so the YSL trial, we talked about this on Monday because a couple of things went viral this week. The lawyer for Young Thug, Brian Still, he was held in contempt, and the judge ordered him to go to sit in prison or / jail for 20 weekends. However,
by the way, I'd hire him if you need a criminal defense lawyer. You lived in Georgia. There are few who have the balls and the fortitude to do that. This is the type of person you want representing you. And amongst the old hands in the legal profession, you ain't shit as a criminal trial lawyer if you haven't been at least threatened a few times with contempt because you won't back down. The better ones have been found in contempt.
Right. But so today, that witness, Kenneth Lil Woody Copeland, he is so funny, returned to the stand for day 91. This trial been going on for 3 months. And Thursday morning, the prosecution began asking Copeland about the murder of Donovan Big Nut Thomas. Thomas, 26, was shot and killed in Atlanta. At one point during the questioning, Young Thug attorney Brian Still moved for a mistrial because he felt the questioning implied that Young Thug was present in 2015. The jury was dismissed so that the motion can be discussed. And I want to play this clip. Let me pull it up. What there? Oh, wait. Oops. No. Jeez. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go.
Okay, Mr. Steele, would you take the podium, please, sir? All right. All right. Mr. Steele, before I recessed, I asked you, how did you get this information? And it is not covered by work product. There's only one way you could have gotten it. So I'm going to ask you again.
Oh, no.
And I respect that. And it gives me no joy.
This ain't it. Wait a minute.
And by the way, what he's talking about is he conducted an investigation and somebody gave him that. Yes, it is work product. And two, the judge didn't comply with the law that would, well, the rules that would suggest that he needed to advise all parties that he had had an ex parte communication. So the other point is he could ask the lawyer, and if the lawyer declines, then he can say, well, tell you what, we're going to set this for a show cause, why you should not be held in contempt. He shouldn't have done it in the middle of the trial because His Honor wasn't doing a bad job. He was being overly indulgent to the state, to the prosecution, which was way out of line. And I guess he swung too far back. So anything from this point is likely not to count because this is such a gross mess up that it's automatic mistrial.
This is from today. Questioning of Little Woody is like, this is his communist Russia remarks. So yeah, this is the video. Sorry, guys.
I would like the court to look into the appropriateness. Mr. Copeland, to my observations around your courtroom, outside your courtroom on breaks, is surrounded by several members of law enforcement with the district attorney's office and prosecutors, potentially other persons. I don't know why a sitting witness under oath is in a room with prosecutors during breaks, mornings, afternoons. It's totally inappropriate. There are people who are in your court's door. There's a double door where the court sits to its right that aligns with the witness chair. And I noticed people standing there in law enforcement while Mr. Copeland is testifying. He's making eye contact with them. I don't know if they're his brother. My point to you is this: what gives anybody the right to surround a witness? He's not in custody. And
I don't know why. Turn your volume up. I'm listening to it here.
I can hear it.
Yeah. So anybody else in the chat, you need to turn your volume up because this is all the way up.
I hear it fine.
Prosecutors, and it is coercion. It is inappropriate. And why would anybody not be recording everything he said? And why do I have to get it in drips and drabs? So I am objecting to the tactics of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and whomever else they may have employed with a citizen, regardless of what the court may think of him or the prosecutors think of him.
I don't have any thoughts. So please don't put that in. Please don't put that in the ether. Okay, but that's what you just said, sir.
The ether is
okay.
Clear. The court wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either. So why is it happening? He's a
See, I have no interest other than I'm a referee.
Well, you're
Okay.
the referee who spoke with the witness without my presence. So
Mr. Steele, we're not gonna get into that right now.
Well,
Okay.
my point is, how is he being treated here? And why don't I have all this? And why is this going on? What an unfair trial for Mr. Williams. Think about it. If you were accused, Your Honor, and the judge met with this witness, with the prosecutor, and you sat next to me and Mr. Adams, you would say to us, what kind of case is this? Now he's being surrounded with all this law enforcement. My point is,
Your Honor, we're going to object that this.
I'm not going to be interrupted.
Mr. Steele, hold on. No, but you're Mr. Steele? Mr. Steele?
Yes, sir. What?
Okay.
I want to finish. I'm making a record for the court to understand.
Well, Mr. Steele.
I've never been interrupted in a court except for this one. You allow.
Well, you know, but the challenge is in this point in time is that some of the things that you have said at certain points in time are not appropriate.
It's not true.
Okay. Well, that's the court's.
Court is wrong.
Well, you know, you have, everybody has an opinion, and it can certainly be reviewed at the appropriate time. But finish up so you can go ahead and make your record.
Interrupt anymore about a prosecutor or anyone. This is a record. This is important.
Okay, but it's your allegation and assertion, sir. Okay, so, well, we don't know that. We don't know whether or not they're true.
What's going on? Every time Mr. Copeland comes in the courtroom or out of court, he's escorted by a DA's office investigator. You see that? This court is observant. You're not just sitting there in a cloud. You see exactly what's going on. You hear the prosecutor tell you, we were in a room with Mr. Copeland and he said these things. Why?
Okay.
Why do I have to bring up? You should be bringing it up. This is crazy. This is like communist Russia. Mr. Williams is having the worst trial. So
stop it a second. Stop it a second. Stop it a second. Stop it a second.
And stop accusing. You've allowed the prosecutor Love to accuse me of misconduct.
Oh, but you've also accused her of hold on.
Stop it. This is just getting a farce right here.
Remember what I told you about your professional response. Remember what I told you about your.
Stop it a second.
And she's gonna take me down as opposed to you. So
stop it a
start
second.
Talking. Stop talking, please.
Stop it a second.
I'll let you complete your record. Okay?
Hold it. Hold it.
All right.
Hold it. Hold it. This is getting to be a circus here. This is totally inappropriate. Now,
I can hear you.
Let me tell you what's wrong.
Wait. Stop. She can't hear. Stop the video. Oh my God.
Okay.
I'll let you complete your record. Hold it.
Okay. Here's what's wrong with this before we get off into
I can't hear you.
What? Oh, God damn. Wouldn't it go down at the wrong damn time? Okay.
Hello? What did I just do? Oh my God. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Pink? Give me a second. I think I knocked the judge off. Sorry about that. And everything else that I had everything set up. Yo, this is why I don't really like. Yeah. I couldn't. So you probably was telling me to stop.
I was, but here, let me say what I was doing. This is getting to be a farce, and it does not generate respect for the American courts, which I still try to preserve. What should have happened is the lawyer is technically out of bounds here. He should have said, Your Honor, before this witness continues, we'd like to voir dire the witness on events that have been taking place that indicate that there is an effort being made to directly influence the testimony of the witness. So it is not independent. And then he should have explained. With that, he gets himself in the door. He didn't do that. He got out of line. The judge is not being firm enough in this, and he's ruling some ways wrong. He should have said, what is your objective? State where you're trying to go with this. So rather than the lawyer going around describing the events, he should have offered a proffer of where he's going. In other words, from what we are observing, Your Honor, it looks like law enforcement and prosecutors are attempting to influence what this witness testifies to, which would violate the rule which has been called for. And what is the rule? No person who has testified or who may not testify may attempt to interfere with or influence what another witness may or may not say as part of his or her testimony. That would have gotten everything in the door, but they didn't do that because things have broken down in this courtroom. They have gotten completely out of control, which also indicates there should be a mistrial. Now, the last time he had the judge straight up and down. This time the lawyer has overstepped. So somebody needs to deal with the rules of procedure. And I'm assuming Georgia has some similar to the rest of the other 49 states in the union and the federal system, and dealt with these things in a professional fashion. There is too much animus going on in here, back and forth. The judge let the atmosphere get to be circus-like, even though he's not been doing a totally bad job. He's just not been firm enough. So the prosecution is used to getting out of line. The defense is in frustration. And the whole damn set of charges border on the ludicrous and the ridiculous. You see, what the RICO stuff is that the prosecution is attempting to use the rap lyrics. In other words, what these people have been saying in their entertainments are exemplifying organized crime, racketeering, etc., etc. And that's just a little bit out of hand because it transgresses into the First Amendment. Now, the prosecution has been talking over the judge, out talking him, shouting at him, and that sets up a very negative situation for this courtroom to continue to operate like that. A lot of this could have been avoided by, excuse me, we're meeting in the court's chambers. Madam Court Reporter, how long would it take you to set up in court's chambers? And then you go back there and hash it out. You can yell at anything and then come out and maintain the decorum of the court once you resume.
Right.
See, that's the way it's supposed to handle, not this kind of circus affair right here.
I just want to say I apologize for that. It's something, I don't know what happened because I could not hear you. You could hear me, but I could not hear you. So you could have been telling me to pause it 2 minutes in, and I didn't hear anything until I
got it. It happens. They interfere with this stuff.
Right.
So,
hi, LA Pink.
Hey, y'all.
So I don't know if I should finish playing the rest of it because it's just really the prosecutor then gets up and saying, well, I want the defense to stop calling us names. And then the judge says, well, you have interrupted and called them names as well. Both of y'all need to stop. It becomes like kids.
A circus.
Yes.
And the judge should put an absolute stop to that.
Right. So
if they're not filming this to be a movie, they sure should be.
Exactly.
It's a circus for sure.
Now, the judge in this, they're calling it the Fannie Willis case because it's her office. There have been calls for him to step aside in the YSL trial after he held attorney Brian Still, who is representing Young Thug. And Young Thug, real name is Jeffrey Williams. After he held him in criminal contempt for refusing to reveal how he learned of the private meeting that took place in the judge's chambers. So Glanville sentenced Still to 20 days behind bars this past Monday. And on Wednesday, Doug Weinstein, another defense attorney representing somebody else, sought Gavel's recusal and asked that the trial be halted until the motion was heard by another judge or whatever. And this came in. The Georgia Supreme Court has since stayed the motion, meaning still will not have to serve the sentence while he appeals it, right? But now there are calls for this judge to be recused.
Good.
And I wanted you to come on, LA Pink, because you was on Monday, you was talking about how you had to go to court Tuesday because you are suing Sheriff LaButte. And this judge, it was this judge, right? Judge Glambell?
Yes.
He issued a judgment or something in your case.
So what happened is that I'm suing him, but that's not what this case is. This case was the case for the warrant hearing. That's what this case is.
Okay.
And so he was supposed to, so Glenville recused his whole bench from my case, which, like I was telling you earlier, is a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing because it really kind of exposes that they can't, and I guess because he is a city official, and I'm assuming they feel like it's a conflict of interest. But then the other, it's a good thing for me because, we already see the confusion and the misconduct that he has already of the lies and stuff that he allows to take place inside of his, inside of his presence.
So this judge Glanville, he recused every judge in Fulton for your case. So your case is actually being moved to another county.
To DeKalb County.
DeKalb County. And that's kind of a bad reflection on Fulton County because of all the basically corruption.
It's a bad thing, but it's even worse because he has ties in DeKalb County as well. I sent you his portfolio, his I don't know. It's I guess it would be his on, that's what you could find on the website. So information based on him, and it's not it. I mean, he has ties to DeKalb County, so that's.
So you think he will have? You think his reach will have influence on your case in DeKalb County?
It's possibly
because it does show, being that he recused all the judges in Fulton and moved your case to DeKalb, it kind of shows a goodwill to make sure that you get a fair hearing.
He didn't recuse all the rest of them. He just apparently is acting as the administrative law judge for the circuit. So he made a holding that it should be transferred out of the county in order to avoid conflict of interest. By the way, you can't see me.
Yeah, okay.
You can't see me because all of the lights went out.
In the neighborhood or just your house?
I don't see anything outside either. This decrepit ass Memphis Light Gas and Water breaks down every few weeks. And it's a disgusting shame that these thieving bastards around here have been stealing the money that should have been used to maintain the infrastructure. So there are no lights in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
It's black out there.
Oh, my God. All right. So that's kind of like.
No air conditioning either, by the way. It's already starting to get warm.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, let's zoom through this before anything else happens.
I can see you ladies, but you can't see me because it's pitch black in here.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. What else did I have on? All right. So, okay. So, should I play the rest of the 4 minutes or,
play the rest of the 4 minutes. I just had to make that announcement that this is a circus and a court should not operate like this.
Okay. Where am I going? I'm gonna go here, and I'll go back here. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
All right. So I told you,
I hear it.
Okay.
I hear it.
Several times before. I told you and your colleagues remember your professional responsibility, and let's not make this an ad hominem issue. I don't believe that either one of you are trying to do anything that would subvert your ability to practice law. So I mean, but
Love has intentionally lied to the court numerous cases. You do nothing.
hold on. Let him finish. See, this is Mr. Steele. This is exactly what I'm saying. You cannot. It is not a good idea to state that your brethren across the bar are lying. Okay, in any time or any way.
I don't like doing it.
Okay, but don't. So don't. But don't because you don't because you don't have any proof. If you have proof of it, then if you have proof, there's a mechanism in law and under the rules for you to submit that question to the Office of General Counsel and for the investigation to occur. But please don't. Please stop, both of you. I've told both of you earlier, stop making these ad hominem attacks toward one another. Okay?
Everyone gets attacked. You say nothing.
Well, okay, but I've said something. You're going back to stuff that's happened in the past. So while I'm trying to deal with things that are current, so I've told you all most recently, as of about a week or so ago, to stop all this. Remember, I told you the world's watching you. They are. So please don't from this point on, do not accuse each other of anything. If you want to go ahead and do it, there's a proper way to do it, but don't bring it up in front of me. Okay?
I'm just making a point that this has been going on and it's abusive. That is my point.
That's your assertion, sir, as a lawyer, okay? And maybe your frustration with everything. Like I told you, this trial's gone a long time. There's a lot of wear and tear, but everybody's got to rise above and be a professional advocate. That's what the system demands of you.
I'm not worn or torn. I am here to tell the court that from a objective, casual observer, you could see what's going on here is inappropriate.
Okay. At the end of the day, I understand your concern that you have now shared with the court. Okay. All right. State, do you want to respond?
Your Honor, I just asked that the court strike the portions of Mr. Steele's, whatever that was, to the court regarding personal and ad hominem attacks on members of the state's team. Ms. Hilton will address the merits of the initial argument that Mr. Steele made. But as to personal attacks on members of the state's team, we'd ask that assertions that specific people have lied, that is disrespectful, that is unprofessional, and not one time has any such statement been made by any member of this team about anyone else.
Oh, I think, Ms. Love, in the past, you've made some statements.
I have never said anyone lied.
You made some statements about Mr. Steele and about, well, just let me finish. I'm not done. All right. And about several others of your colleagues. I mean, and it may have been the heat of discussion and everything else. Like I said earlier, there's enough blame to go around for everybody. All right. So, but can we kind of stop that and draw things kind of forward? I've had 2 or 3 conversations with everyone about their obligations as professional advocates under the rules. Okay. And that while the court certainly agrees that ad hominem attacks are not, they don't make anybody look any good. They really don't. I mean, but I'm just saying I acknowledge that. I acknowledge what's been gone on in the past. So, and I ask that you all reflect upon that because, like I said, you can't say some of the stuff that people say to one another can't be taken back. They just can't. So, and that's just something that the court would just have you reflect upon.
Thank you, Judge.
Sides, okay.
And we just ask.
And so we asked that, I don't know if it was a motion, be denied if that was what was being asked of the court.
All right. I'll include the state's exhibit 400.
All right, that was enough for me to play that. Can I unmute you guys because they chose to mute? Judge, can you unmute?
I am not muted.
Okay. All right. So Oh, this is loud. All right. So that was that. Again, I don't know you want to comment on that. That's what I'm saying. It is a circus. It is a back and forth. I think it should be a mistrial because
that shouldn't have been permitted. It shouldn't go like that. The judge didn't take full control of his courtroom. He's lost it. Next thing is he should have done this. He says the court's going to hold that each of you put in written form what you are complaining of and what you're seeking and cast it as a motion or an answer thereto, and the court will give it in due consideration. We will move on. That's how you handle that.
All right, so I want to move on to Fannie Willis, right? LA Pink, one of LA Pink's favorite person. Let me share this real quick. So it says Fannie Willis witness says her office told him he could lie in court. Just mute your mic for a second, LA. Prosecutors from Fulton County Attorney District Fannie Willis office told a state witness that he could lie on the stand according to a sworn affidavit submitted in a YSL trial. In a new filing submitted Wednesday, defense attorney Doug Weinstein claimed that during Monday's private meeting, Assistant District Attorney Simon Hyton told witness Kenneth Copeland that she would not prosecute him if he were to lie on the stand. The meeting between the judge, Glenville, Fulton County prosecutor, Copeland, and Copeland's attorney has become the catalyst of a tense situation in the case. Lawyers representing the 6 co-defendants standing trial in a YSL case have accused the judge and prosecutors from Willis' office witness tampering and coercion during the meeting, defense attorneys. So do you believe that the witness, what the witness said, that he was told to lie?
Who you ask?
They're kind of stuck with him if they ask him the question and it's their witness. They haven't declared him hostile yet, which I said from the very beginning, they should have made a request of the court to declare this witness hostile. And also he should be provided with counsel to consult because he does not have full immunity. Apparently he's just got testimonial immunity. And that means the more he testifies, the more immunity he gets, but nobody's told him that. So he's being very reluctant because he's going through his head, how much can be kept on my shoulders? See, depending upon the type of immunity, in a certain kind, you can't have what you say used against you, but you can incriminate yourself and indicate other avenues of information that they can pursue based on what you testified to, and they can get you with that.
Did you want to comment?
So that's not a cool
Absolutely. I believe that they told him he can lie. They all lie. I feel like any way that she can win this case, like any of her other cases, she doesn't mind having, long as it reflects towards them. Now, when he flips it and he says, he don't know, and he's confessing to stuff, that's where all their stuff is going to have changed. But do I believe that they told him to lie and they would save him? I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I believe every word that he's saying when it comes to anything that have to do with one of them, because they lie. They lie.
Yeah, they do. And see, the other thing is, I've been watching Miss Fannie. She's the one in charge of the district attorney's office. She's the boss. Everybody else is her assistant. She is the prosecutorial entity. And I saw lying, misstatements, mistruths, and half-truths, all while she was on the stand, foolishly implementing herself in situations that dictated that she take the Fifth Amendment.
Let me play this clip. It's only a minute and 20 seconds. This is Woody in court today.
The police kept coming to grab me. Every time they grabbed me, I had a different story for them. I know 100% facts, and I'm telling you now, I was not truthful. I was saying whatever they wanted me to say. I was saying whatever I could come up with. I was trying my best to convince them that I didn't do nothing, that I'm an innocent person, and that people put their hands on me. When they asked me about any of these things, you sitting here keep asking me step by step by step by step. And I'm telling you now, because you asked me, was I being truthful? Okay. I know I wasn't being truthful.
So is your testimony today that you lied in every interview that you did in 2015?
See, you the way you asked me that, I don't recall what I was saying in the interviews, but I'm telling you now, when they was questioning me 2015, 14, whenever they was questioning me, I was lying. I was making up stories. So when they were asking me about this right here, I was making it up. When they were asking me about this right here, I was making it up. And when they was getting me and they would let me go, I'm just telling you.
Do you recall telling every detective?
Every time they got me, I have told the police, I tell y'all whatever y'all want to hear.
Do you recall telling every detective in every interview, you got to believe me, I'm telling y'all the truth? Okay.
That sound like me.
Do you recall telling every detective?
That was the end of that. He is so funny.
That sound like me. When I say this is all going down.
This is a complete
sounds
shit
like
show.
me.
It sounds like
He's
me.
being a candid witness.
Oh my God.
I'll give him that.
Right.
Can't make this up.
Right. All right. So
actually, real legal proceedings are a lot more interesting than the fictional ones because some of that stuff you can't make up. Most of the people that write the fiction haven't been in a real courtroom long enough to really hear the good stuff. So yeah, it sounds like me.
But it sounds like Fanny. It sounds like funny. That's who it sounds like. It sounds just like her. She makes stuff up as she go. Like that's just what she's been doing. You know, from what even people from that's coming out the woodworks from back when she was an attorney. You know, that's exactly what they're saying. She just makes stuff up. So nothing has changed. And it's just gotten worse because of the position she's placed herself in by going after high profile people. And so now she's in the spotlight. So now she's still making stuff up, but thinking that she was going to get away with it. And now it's all coming out.
I've got two prosecutors.
I'm sorry. That was sorry by accident. So all right, Judge, anything else you want to say on the YSL with the lawyer Brian Still going at it again with the judge? You know, he said, look, this courtroom is like communist Russia. I don't know why you moving around and you in the dark, honey.
Well, actually, I'm trying to find the light.
But the lights ain't going to turn on because the lights
I'm
been
talking
out.
about a flashlight. I'm trying to find a flashlight in the dark. You know?
And but they have so much to say about this attorney. But what about what's the woman's name? That's the woman attorney that was going back and forth with him, and he just let it go. You know,
Love.
Yeah, she was going back and forth with him, and he just allowed her to do whatever. I mean, it looked like a Funny Willis and him situation, going back and forth with each other, because that's just how she was acting. You know, things didn't go her way. He at least is speaking truth for his client of the things that that they're trying to allow to slip through. You can't do certain things with the witness, and that's just it.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
He got the light.
Let there be light.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, at least you know where your flashlight is.
Right. All right. So
now the sound's going out, but
Oh,
anyway,
my God.
now
All right,
you're back. Okay.
let me run through the next one
Well, I better save that.
Yeah, I want to stay on Fanny. Just sit still, Judge. Just can you still hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good. All right. I want to stay on Fanny.
And by the way, that's not lights back on. That's the flashlight.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Strong flashlight shining at the ceiling.
All right, let's move on because I don't. Just in case something else happened. So 2 more things. Rudy Giuliani calls Fannie Willis a hoe at a Christian event. Let me play the clip.
Who did that? Who called her that?
Rudy Giuliani.
Then
I've
got 2 prosecutors. Fannie the hoe. I'm sorry. Forney? What is Forney? Now, F-A-N-I is not Forney, and I'm not calling her Forney. I could drop the whole part if she just quit and go away. But to me, you spell your name F-A-N-I, you're Fanny. You're not Forney.
So that was him. He was at a Christian event.
Jesus. Well, hey, she want to stand with the pulpit pimps. Hey, I guess
So let me read
right.
this. Let me read this real quick. So former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani sparked controversy after calling prosecutor Fannie Willis a hoe during a speech to a presumably Christian audience that cheered when he used a misogynistic slur, right? Called her a hoe.
Misogynist slur. Hell, he's telling the truth.
True.
Well,
right.
I'm gonna before I come.
That's why he should have just said Jezebel.
Right. Before I come to you, LA Pink. You know, let me just, so Rudy Giuliani called her a hoe. I wonder why. And it's not just because of the Nathan Wade thing. It's out. Please, and you actually you did say it on Monday, and I'm actually going to upload that clip. But the plot thickens. So you had Nathan Wade, you had the former DA who she ended up beating. You have Nut, the one that was murdered.
Fresh.
Who is Fresh?
Yeah, and you got the DJ that had a government job by day.
That's the daddy. Yes. The daddy said that one.
Yes. And then who's Fresh? Who's Fresh?
You'll find out Fresh Monday.
Okay, we'll find out on Fresh Monday, but Fresh.
But just remember Fresh.
And who else? It was somebody. Oh, the guy. Wasn't somebody in the church? Or was that? It was somebody in the church. You said it on one of the.
From what they said Glenville. From what the streets say. That's just
okay.
Alleged.
So it's alleged. Glenville is in there too. So
yeah.
Basically,
that's why we say Fannie Willis on Grey Goose getting loose. Anybody can get it. Jezebel. That's why we call it that.
She got a lot of bodies.
And let me say something. I'm not a Southern gentleman like Mr. Wade.
Okay.
What I had to say.
He's more of a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
Not so much. So don't be mad when the dude said what he said. Hey, if he want to call you that, let him call. You the one said not so much. Me, not so much. He's the Southern gentleman. Me, not so much. What else could that be?
Right.
If you ain't a Southern woman.
See, you screwed your boss, the DA. You screwed Big Nut. You screwed, the
and then screwed
DJ
them all
by
over.
night and the government employee by day, and you screwed all the rest of them. Good gracious. And now you find out that she got a relationship with the ex of an ex of an ex and all of this.
Well, when you say you're coming after gangs, but you are part of the gangs, that's the problem. You cannot come after. Oh, they said
she
that
wanted
Atlanta
herself
didn't have
a little,
no
what
gangs.
do they call it? Rough trade.
Right.
She wanted
You
a little rough
knew
trade.
the gangs. You were with the gangs. That's why you knew that they had gangs, because they don't call you super friends for nothing. So yeah, that part.
All right. So one last thing on Fannie. What are you doing, Judge? What you doing? I hear feedback. You touching stuff. Can you hear us?
I hear you. I was trying to go to the speaker on the phone, but it's
child, please don't touch no buttons. Honey, you in the dark. Don't touch no buttons right now. We got one more story.
Yeah, but you were going in and out on the voice, so I was trying to see if
where that
just the phone
flashlight
speaker
at?
was
Where that
better.
flashlight at? Where the flashlight?
I'm gonna run out of light, so I need to save it to get around because there are no street lights out here, and I'm kind of quasi in a. Yeah. Anyway, there are raccoons and deer out in the yard, so
There ain't no lions and bears.
So one more thing.
Coyotes.
One more thing on Fanny. This came out today, honey. Let's see what does it look like. Okay,
what she did now.
Fulton County, she can't stay out the damn church. Fulton County Dad Fannie Willis spoke at a church conference about facing challenges. I'm gonna play this clip.
God damn.
I know.
During a speech at a Marietta church. Now,
Jesus.
comes as lawyers for former President Donald Trump and his co-defendants prepare to appeal the decision by Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee to allow her office to remain on the election interference case.
And at Love the Lives, Karis Belger was inside Turner Chapel AME Church today for her remarks.
So I have a word to America today. Black women are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
While addressing the congregation at Turner Chapel AME Church, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis also took time to address her critics, like former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, one of the co-defendants in the Fulton County election interference case against former President Donald Trump.
I've heard from friends of all religious backgrounds and all races, really disgusted that in God's house, ugliness against women is celebrated and not condemned.
The remarks came less than 24 hours after Willis filed a motion to dismiss the appeal that is seeking to have her removed from the case. If the motion is denied, the Georgia Court of Appeals will hear arguments in October. Willis did not directly address the case, but did say she would continue to work toward what she calls her mission to make sure justice serves every member of the public.
I have caused others so much fear by having the audacity to work towards my oath every day to make sure Lady Justice works hard for, hear me on this, that Lady Justice works hard every day to serve all of her constituents.
Former Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade sat in the back of the audience but did not make any remarks. And like Willis, he did not take questions after the speech. His romantic relationship with Willis led to the initial hearings, which resulted in him stepping down from the case. Now, the proceedings are on hold until the Georgia Court of Appeals makes a final ruling on the appeal filed by Trump and his co-defendants. Karis Belger, 11 Alive News.
Her boo was there.
Yeah, and you know what? She's giving, if you had a judge who was into the law and wasn't too politically swayed, she gave that sentencing judge a lot of ammunition to smash her right across the head with the book. And what the hell? Yeah, Lady Justice needs to get her on the job, and she needs to be prosecuted for the things she established probable cause that she committed.
Right.
Let's talk about these 501c3 churches that is allowing her to come off in here and have these.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just wondering when, like, I mean, the paperwork that I done filed against some of them, it needs to hurry up and take place because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous for you to be able, your church members come off in there to get a word from God, not a word from a fake DA, not a Jezebel.
Yeah, and then what is it? Black women are sick and tired of being
How
sick
are
and
you
tired.
talking about
Oh,
what we sick and
lame
tired when
ass.
you ain't even that black woman? You ain't that black woman. You a black woman that took down a black man. Let's talk about that because she always talk about she a black woman. Well, what about what Paul Howard? He was a black man. He was doing the same thing you was doing. So how I don't understand these black men that got. I mean, oh, go ahead, play the next one.
I want to play this 38-second clip. This is more for her speech.
What can I say? I live the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over sexualized. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots called my name as Fanny in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear, of her behind.
Your name
Girl.
is Fanny, child. One of your daddy's friends was named Fanny. She used to be active in the BSU. That's where you got the name. It ain't Fanny, fool. It's Fanny.
But what? Okay, but this is the issue that I
Oh my
have,
God.
because she always falls back on the black thing and the black woman and women, because
oh my
girl,
butt.
You know, when they
But
do
no,
that,
wait,
she
You
let
be
me
wearing
just
all
say
them
this.
little
crooked.
dresses to church. You be wearing
Let
all
me
them little stuff to church. Really? You really
let me
worried
let me
about your
just say
butt?
this. Let me just say this, because she's saying, you know, black women, we are always overly sexualized, but your sex life was just dragged all through the goddamn national media.
Yep.
You kept your legs wide open when
Wide
you were supposed to
open.
be prosecuting the biggest case of your
After
career.
you said, let's keep this in the air. After you said on interviews that it was a distraction for you to sleep with someone in your office. This is the reason why she was taking out Paul Howard, and a black man. And now you want to sit up here and say, oh, why are they talking about my sex life? It's not even that interesting. Oh, because you was talking about his to get in office.
Right. So it's like,
And you
I'm
talked
tired.
about your own, too.
Yes.
Right. So it's
'Cause
like
you was
you
sleeping with him.
over-sexualize yourself.
And you said you took up with him after he got hired and worked for you. So that's what you said you weren't going to do, which actually made it worse than you two just had a booty call thing before you hired him and you thought you could split the money. So explain the $7.5 million that's out there that was supposed to be using to catch up the backlog. Explain the $2 million that was supposed to be used, to prosecute sex crimes. Explain the $500,000 that's missing, along with the $7.5.
Clarify, when did
and then explain your tie-in with Sheriff LaButte, the amateur, or not amateur, the gay porn star. You know, bring your fine butt back in here so I can get back on top of it, boy. You know,
well,
that
Wade
one.
said what he thought about
and,
it. Apple pie.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is the very last one. I gotta bring up Nathan Wade on CNN.
Relationship between the two of you start?
Yeah, so you know, we get into, there's been this effort to say that, okay, these exact dates are at issue, and these exact dates are, I'm getting signaled here.
Yeah, take it. Do I go off mic for a second?
Yes.
Okay. Go off mic for a second.
Keep rolling?
Yeah, keep rolling. Don't stop down there.
Oh, they had to give him the dates?
No, they're conferring with him about keeping his mouth shut so he doesn't Fifth Amendment himself.
But they shouldn't do that. If you having an interview, let that interview go. Whatever he say, why are you trying to save him?
Yeah, see, he at least has common sense to not put himself in the position that Fanny did.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Just to revisit the question, it was to clarify when the romantic relationship started and when it ended.
Sure. So, you know, I believe that the public has, through the testimony and other interviews, the public has a clear snapshot that this is clearly just a distraction. It is not a relevant issue in this case, and I think that we should be focusing on more of the facts and the indictment in the case.
Well, I ask because obviously it's still a pending matter. It's going to be before the Court of Appeals. And you talked about how proud you were of all the work that you did in this office. And I think the question that people have when they hear from the Court of Appeals, this isn't happening until next spring, is did the relationship jeopardize that work that you did in this investigation?
And therein lies the issue, why we wouldn't touch upon the work of the Court of Appeals or some higher court, because it's a pending issue before them. I think that we should allow them, take a step back and allow them to take the evidence that they have and do their work, make the decision.
Right, but you did testify to this, and you were asked about, on the stand, about when it started and when it ended. It just wasn't completely clear, because before it said, before the indictment, which was August 15th here in Atlanta, and then later the answer was at the end of that year. And so I think that was the clarity that people were seeking.
Oh, you was laundering money and you got caught because your girlfriend
there again, there's a question before the court. And that is the crux of the question. I don't choose to say or do anything that would jeopardize the case or the court's ruling. I prefer to allow them to make their decision based upon what they have and accept it.
Do you believe, as you reflect on this, that your relationship with the district attorney was a mistake?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What I believe is this whole conversation is a distraction. That's all. It's a tool to stop the train, to slow down the inevitable, which is the trial of the defendants named in the election interference case.
Do you believe the trial ultimately happens?
You two crooks were sitting there trying to steal.
Wait, let him finish.
Mr. Wade, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
CNN is a joke. Channel 2 is a joke. Like, these news channels are jokes. Y'all gonna give him the opportunity to get up and correct his. Let him give it. If you want a true interview, do you want something fake or do you want something real? I'm so tired of them faking this stuff out. For Sheriff LaButte, for Funny Willis, for all these different political gangbangers down here, I'm tired. Black on black political crime. That's what this is.
They're part of the rainbow. They protect each other.
This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, LA Pink, I will see you on Monday. That's going to be a really good show Monday. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And I will talk to you over the weekend.
All righty.
Hey, be strong. Keep it up, please, sister. I appreciate what you're doing. You're courageous. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Now, you could just get some more of them boys down there in Fulton County, Cobb County, and DeKalb County, I think. Isn't that how you pronounce it? Or is it?
What?
If you could just get them to grow some balls, that might help.
Yeah.
Right. And guys, I want you to go to streetgroomers.org. Thank you, Southern Belle, for putting the link in the chat. Streetgroomers.org. Go and support the organization and support LA Pink. And I will see you on Monday. Thank you so much.
Monday. Kingdom blessings, y'all. All right.
I think that's it. Let me get to I saw another super chat. Honey, I slow tonight on the super chats, but that's fine. Kimberly, love Judge Joe Brown. You're awesome too, Dana. Thank you. Thank you so much. I do have a question here. Do you guys have a criminal compensation fund for victims of violent crimes with no suspects?
No.
Okay. Somebody says January 6th, Jan-teenth. That's a good one. June 14th is Flag Day. Yes, that is tomorrow. What is Flag Day?
You give honor to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
Okay. Lau says her gynecologist says her walls need renovation. And thank you, Cowboy Rob. Little Miss on CNN is being real sweet and nice for him. She was talking all that way. She wasn't talking all that way when she talked to Trump. She was talking with that sharp mouth. Yeah, she is a horrible interviewer. Yeah, she was nasty and sassy when she was interviewing Trump. And I'm sorry, that Trump interview that helped her career.
Yeah, and by the way, she didn't want to add to the mix for CNN, Crying Negro Network, by getting another Crying Negro on there.
Right. So
it has become so obvious that there are supportable allegations that would direct themselves to money laundering, misappropriation of public funds, IRS violations that somebody is aiding and abetting, conspiracy to defraud the people of the state of Georgia, all sorts of things going on here. It ought to be real cute. See, the interesting thing is the RICO case against the rappers is weak. She also, by the way, had the RICO case filed against the school teachers. And the interesting thing is that from what is out in the open right now, the allegations, and from the record as a whole, it looks like the worst RICO case involves Fannie, her office, and Attorney Wade and a few other people, including the sheriff and some of the other elected officials in Fulton County, allegedly.
Right.
But it's beginning to look like that. Somebody got caught in their creep.
Well, guys, thank you everybody on X for tuning in. Like I said, please like and repost on X, and thank you everybody on YouTube, everyone who sent in a donation. Thank you guys. Please like and share this as well, and comment below in the comment section. We will be back on Monday. We have another special guest. LA Pink is coming back on, and we're going to have the attorney Mario Williams come on as well. And we're going to talk in more detail about Juneteenth. And probably a little bit of yes. It's I'm gonna mix it up a little. Bit. But so yeah, it's gonna be a good show on Monday. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button to get all notifications. It's very, very, very important. And yeah, and have a wonderful weekend. Judge Joe Brown will be on his show Friday. That's the Judge Joe Brown Show with Valerie Denise. You could check it out on Apple and Spotify. I will post a call-in number in the community section tomorrow. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, go and get you the barbecue sauce. It is delicious. You can pick it up at Amazon, or you can go to the website, jjbbbq.com. Both links are in the description. So that's Judge Joe Brown barbecue sauce. Go get you some. And go to my website, therealdananetwork.com, and subscribe to the mailing list. It's very, very important. I'm going to start posting some of Judge Joe Brown writings in the blogs weekly, which is very, very insightful and educational as well. So please go to the website, therealdananetwork.com, and subscribe. Anything you want to say in closing?
I would suggest you do the barbecue sauce on Sunday, Father's Day. Skip Juneteenth because it's not fake, it's real. And it's black enterprise, not black sleep at the wheel and staying a slave for a year and a half longer than necessary. So anyway.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Like
yeah. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers all over the world. But this is the holiday. Father's Day is this Sunday for American fathers. But happy Father's Day to everybody. You deserve the recognition and the respect. And, you know, enjoy yourself. Do something for you.
By the way, it might be a good reason to support BRICS, because I bet you they treat fathers better than they get treated here in the United States.
Yeah, patriarchal country. But I don't want to get into that right now. Y'all know his lights did not come back on. That was a flashlight. Judge Joe Brown lights went out. It went out in a whole neighborhood. It is what it is. But
powerful flashlight.
Yeah, it is powerful. But anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Ceiling.
Thank you so much to my moderators, Catalia and Southern Bell. And what was this? Okay, should Judge Glenville be removed from the YSL trial? 81% said yes, 3% said no, 16% said mixed trial, 748 people voted. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend and happy Father's Day. Bye.